Fair enough. Well, you sort of have to like get things off the ground first, and then I think there's a lot of
Hmm.
projects out there that worry about hyper scalability when they don't have any users. You'll see this a lot
Oh yeah.
on like tech blogs. They're like, oh, how do I scale up to 1 million users, and they haven't even released their first alpha version yet, right? Like,
Hmm.
obviously, this is something you want to think about, and if the platform does grow, you want to have some sort of plan in place, but going all in with the scalability from day one, you end up trying to build something far outside of what you need without any idea how much it's going to grow.
Well,
Hmm.
with the VStream stuff, I'm not sure about Selena what they're doing with their software.
Mm-hmm.
But with specific parts, I've been tracking down. Excuse me, my cat. I've been tracking stuff down, like how long certain functions take and stuff like that, and I've been load testing it explicitly
Mm-hmm.
up to I think 100,000 requests at a time, so I
Mm-hmm.
can get an idea of how it would perform if it got a sudden influx. So
Right.
it's just to prepare for that if it happens.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think. Oh,
For
go on.
my software, it's all it's we. How do I explain this? It uses Redis to cache,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not really aggressive,
Mm-hmm.
but it's aggressive enough to the point where profiles can take up to like 3 or 4 minutes to like update.
Mm-hmm.
Um, which we use a database that costs you, I think, it's like per 1,000 requests or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that's the reason why.
Mm-hmm.
But
I also have the Regis aggressively caching Regis as well because with the current database, it's taking up to 2 seconds for it to reply. So
Right.
that's a bit ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
but that's basically the cloud's problem because
Yeah.
everything's got to be in the cloud. But
Mm-hmm. So whenever I think about any sort of, because okay, one thing that I don't think we touched on, I maybe briefly mentioned it. This platform is going to be open source. But whenever I think about a platform that is open source that's trying to do a any sort of video related stuff, I always think, well, why build something new when you have things like PeerTube that are already available? Like, what reason is there to do this yourself?
one
With the
is a learning experience,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
and
along
uh, two, we have control, right? So like for our uploading, we can deploy how many servers. I mean, it just depends
Mm-hmm.
because they're all written in Go. So you could deploy them and then set it up into the database, and then just do a closest server.
Mm-hmm.
With
and
software that you would have to clone or pull down, you don't have full control.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another reason.
and
Mm-hmm.
along with the stream relays, I'm going pretty aggressive with anti-scraper and anti
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
fake users pretty much. And the existing code already does that by only storing only storing 4 video segments at a time
Mm-hmm.
in its memory for that stream. And every segment has a randomly generated name, the crypto random. So
Mm-hmm.
that means that if you block someone from the M3U8 file, which is the metadata, the playlist file,
Mm-hmm.
they can't do anything. They can't scrape the stream whatsoever. So there's also that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the open source aspect, it's kind of, I'd say it's like 99% um, open source.
Okay.
The streaming software isn't as of now,
Right.
since it's in a not really good state,
Sure. Sure.
and he can explain that further. But that's not going to be open source until later down the line when
Right. Right. Right.
it
Most of
works.
the code, about 2 days ago, I think, most of the code is on that repo, which is a public repo. And as if you went to that repo, you can see the first thing it says, this is reference code, and it's not guaranteed to be the exact code running on VTuber's TV.
Mm-hmm.
So just keep that in mind as well. And I'm always constantly testing and stuff when I can.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. So there's a bit more of a delay than I would normally expect. Yeah, that would explain it. Yeah, there definitely is. So if for anyone listening, if the conversation just randomly stops, that's why. Normally Discord's pretty annoying to like handle conversations with. It's being exceptionally bad today.
I am doing a recording if you do need it. I don't know if my mic channel is split up.
No, the recording's fine. It's just the flow of the conversation is it's gonna be slightly problematic. So we've talked.
Expected.
You've mentioned a couple of times about VStream. I think that's an important thing we need to touch on here, because obviously the VTubers TV wouldn't be possible without that part as well.
Yeah.
And people.
With the,
sorry, one other thing. If the name VStream sounds familiar to anyone, get into that as well if you want to.
Well, it was just a random name I came up with. I know there are existing projects with that name already, so just to avoid confusion, this is not related to the other repos you'll find.
Right.
So, because it means something different, because it literally means the VTubers TV stream.
Mm-hmm. Right. Okay. Yeah, just to make that clear as well. Okay, cool. Because I wasn't fully sure when I was looking up stuff when I saw your name listed on the site. So, okay, cool. So I guess get into how do you even approach handling video and streaming? Like, what do you even where do you even begin to look at this problem?
Well, where I began originally was I took it from Selena because I was originally trying to write the ingest server in TypeScript and JavaScript using the existing modules there. And the biggest problem we're having is that all these ingest servers, basically they put the stream key as the URL you request to when you're doing HLS. So HLS is just the video segments pretty much. And from a security perspective, that's pretty bad because that allows someone to either scrape those keys or just grab them entirely. So originally, I found a NuGet package on C#, and using that, I was able to modify some stuff, and then I got unhappy with the compiled solution, so I downloaded the source code, and now that source code's directly in there, and there's quite a bit of stuff I've modified about it to fit the application use. And one of the bigger things it does is instead of taking the stream key as the requesting URL, it replaces it with the user ID. So it basically injects it. I couldn't tell you exactly where it injects it because following up that source code is a big pain. But yeah, that's the first problem tackled. And the second problem would have been stream distribution. So I started writing the relay. This is all before I started writing the API. So for the API stuff, I was just using my own domain, my own website. It was loosely coupled to VTubers TV, like the testing backends. And it was just something I could quickly do, so I didn't have to worry about the API at the time. And the relay, what its job is to basically couple the abuse from all the viewers at once. And even if one falls over, the point of it is to fall over to another one, so you get minimal stream disruption. I was also planning for those relays to connect to each other, but with the costs of transfer limits and stuff like that, with a lot of cloud services, it's not really viable to do it like that. So what I've decided to do, this was actually about yesterday this decision was made, a whole text wall to Selena about this decision, and it was to put a CDN between the ingest and the relays.
Mm-hmm.
Because then the relays don't need a lot of ingest. The ingest server doesn't need a lot of bandwidth outwards.
Right.
Because that's the biggest problem, because a lot of these servers only have gigabit connections. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So go to the CDN, and then the relays request from there. So it's just about balancing it all out to be cost effective, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And as I already mentioned with the relays, it's pretty aggressive with the anti-scraping, even the current version of it. And it's just done like that. As I was just writing it, this was like pretty early on that I started doing this.
Mm-hmm.
I believe Solida wants to rewrite all of this in TypeScript, not the ingest server. The ingest server is staying C#, but the rest of it will be rewritten in TypeScript, just to match the rest of the project.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Is that just because you're more familiar with TypeScript?
Yeah. I mainly do TypeScript and Go. He does mainly C# and I think C++, if I remember.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
No,
So,
C. Just C, not C++. And I do have quite a bit of JavaScript knowledge as well, because a lot of my website itself is all client-side JavaScript, so...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for videos, there's an issue with bitrate and how fast it gets processed.
Right.
So we kind of have to do it both. So when you upload, you get sent straight to a page to view the status.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of background jobs. So it's not taking up any of like chunk data or like requests. You just upload it,
Mm-hmm.
get sent to a page to see the progress, and just it does it in the background. And that was an issue to do because Go's HTTP thing did not like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I have no idea why, but it did it.
You've got to set... I'll just note, with a lot of the software, you have to set the body size limit, because that's the biggest thing you'll come across.
Mm-hmm.
Biggest problem when you get into videos and stuff like that is you quickly hit the default limits. So you have to... The limits are there originally, so you can't just overload the server with, like, garbage requests that have... Just
and
a bunch of
Cloudflare,
pointless data.
Which is with Cloudflare, because we use them as our main like domain thing. I can't say words right now because me being sick a couple weeks ago has messed me up. But their response thing is like I think 500 megabytes or 250. So
Yeah, for the free
to bypass
plan,
that,
I think it's 500 megabytes.
Yeah, you have to chunk it. So it takes a while to upload. With a gigabit file, which was just a test file, it took, I think it was 3 to 4 minutes. But you're not going to upload a gigabit file. Or at least I hope you don't. But then on the upload server, we do like magic numbers to check. And if you were to put a magic number in that matches like a video format, we use it's called virus total. I think it's what I put in. If it detects as like an executable. So we do that. So that's the video I'm streaming.